Today we're going to talk about a speech that Geoffrey Canada gave. It's called Our Failing Schools, Enough is Enough. I challenge you to go online and look up the talk yourself because it's a great talk overall. I'm just going to approach it from a speech coaching perspective today, and I'm going to give you tips from the first few minutes of the speech because the speech is very good. First few minutes that you can use in your speech. So you're going to get 5 tips that are going to help you as you write your own speeches so you can speak well, whether you are going to give your own TED Talk or if you're using it for your own presentations. So let me hit play and then we'll talk about some of the things that he did very well.
I'm a little nervous because my wife, Yvonne, said to me, she said, "Jeff, you watch the TED Talks?" I said, "Yes, honey, I love TED Talks." She said, "You know they're like really smart, talented." I said, I know. She said, they don't want like the angry black man. So I said, "No, I'm gonna be good, honey, I'm gonna be good. I am, but I am angry." And the last time I looked,
So I'm going to pause it there. Obviously, there's humor right off the bat, but the first 2 tips that you may have picked up or you may not have picked up that make good speeches great are dialogue and assumption. So what are those? First off, dialogue. If you are explaining a situation, he didn't say, "Oh, my wife talked to me about being on this program or giving this talk." He actually said, "Hey, I said to my wife," and then he said the line of dialogue. So you felt like you were actually in the conversation. And then he said, "My wife said to me, well, you know what? They don't want the angry black man." So there was not only humor in there, but he did it in dialogue. So he did it as if he was actually in the conversation. So instead of saying, "My wife told me this, this, and this," he said, "My wife said," and then he actually said the line. So we feel a sense of his wife and we get a sense of the conversation that they had by using dialogue. The second thing he did right at the end there of that clip that I played is that he said that last time I checked, and then he looked down at his skin and leading to the assumption that, okay, yeah, he is black. But he didn't say it. He didn't say it. "Last time I checked, I am black." He said, "Last time I checked," and he just looked. And that leads the audience to make their own conclusion. Sometimes it's good not to give your audience everything. And it can actually be a nice connection moment and make your audience feel like they're part of your speech if you just let them think the line without saying it. So that was the second key that he did really well. So there's dialogue and assumption. How can you use those in your own speeches?
I grew up in the inner city, and there were kids who were failing in schools 56 years ago when I first went to school. And those schools are still lousy today. 56 years later. And you know something about a lousy school? It's not like a bottle of wine, right? Where you say like 87 was like a good year, right? That's not how this thing, I mean, every single year, it's still the same approach, right? One size fits all. If you get it, fine, and if you don't, tough luck. Just tough luck. Why haven't we allowed innovation to happen? Do not tell me we can't do better than this. Look, you go into a place that's failed kids for 50 years, and you say, "So what's the plan?" And they say, "Well, we're going to do what we did last year this year." What kind of business model is that? Banks used to open and operate between 10 and 3. They operate 10 to 3. They will close for lunch hour. Now, who can bank between 10 and 3? The unemployed. They don't need banks. They got no money.
So I just wanted to play that clip for you. There's 3 more tips that are going to help you become a better speaker as you speak. First of all, there's what's called passion and pose, what I call passion and pose. He has a passion for this topic. You can hear it. He talked about schools 56 years ago versus today. And then he posed a question to the audience. You want to check in with your audience from time to time. What kind of business model is that? And then he compared it to a bottle of wine. So he brought in step number 4 or tip number 4 is humor. He said it's not like a bottle of wine. So he used an analogy that was humorous. And if you can have serious points with humorous lines thrown in, or humorous parts of the story that are within the story. You're not bringing in an outside joke. You're saying, listen, this is what it's like. It's not like a bottle of wine. It's a business model that's like a bank that's open from 10 to 3. It's things that you can compare to your story that add humor, that make your story sink into your audience. I think it was Les Brown who said that when you have humor in your speech, the audience's mind opens and they're more likely to be receptive of your serious points if you can have a way to tie in humor. And he does that so well. So there's story, there's passion and pose, and there's humor. So if you're telling a story, you're always going to engage your audience as well. So there you have it. I think that was actually more than 5 tips. You want to have dialogue in your speech. You want to leave it alone, have an assumptive moment like he did when he said, oh, last time I checked, I'm black. You want to tell stories. You want to have passion about your topic. You want to pose questions to your audience, and you want to have stories with humor. Do that, those things, and you'll be far ahead of most speakers. So go ahead, watch the TED Talk from Geoffrey Canada, amazing talk, and there's a movie called Waiting for Superman that you can follow up and watch as well too. But from a speaking perspective, there's so much to learn about the techniques he uses that can make you a better speaker as well.